Right, I am a bit late. I was just sitting in my seat, pondering, going through some business strategy, as you do on a Friday night. And in actual fact, I forgot to go live. Today's been an interesting one, and I'll just put this up there on your screen. Sometimes I feel so lonely because I had a moment of loneliness today, and it's such a weird one. And I go into the details of it in a moment, but I just want to, hope that anybody that's feeling lonely on this Friday night, I don't go out to the pub these days and drink my life away or whatnot. I'm not putting shame on people that go out and have a drink. Um, I'm slightly different. At Christmas, I went out. New Year's, I went out and I had a few beers, and it was all right. But because I've got a lot of health conditions, I just don't like drinking much these days. And I had a good time at Christmas and New Year. It was all right. It was a good celebration, as you do. But anyway, I want to talk about loneliness because something really hit me today, and I'll tell you the story. And this is, I'm not embarrassed about this at all, but I was literally making a TikTok, right? And I'm going all out on TikTok because that's where today I've rebranded my stuff. Those of you watch us on LinkedIn, Healthy Secrets is my new brand. What is it? Read it up. Connect on social. You'll find Healthy Secrets. It's all over the internet. It's a starting point at least. I just felt everything I'm doing is all pushing towards a health and fitness brand, and that is what it is. It's a health and fitness brand from the health, the mind, and the body. First of all, I'm going to explore the avenue of course creation because I'm a former teacher and it just makes sense. But anyway, enough of that boring stuff. I want to talk to you about loneliness, and I'll give you my story today. So I was designing a TikTok and I using AI, and the music was so sad. I used it on purpose. I've gone viral before with this same song. My record is 32 million on TikTok, and that was a couple of years ago. But I used this specific song or the actual music to it, and the AI characters you can see. Basically, Snapchat's got a really good feature where you can actually get AI versions of yourself. Most apps these days are all avatar, got the avatar choice. But anyway, I started to cry. I'll be honest, I've been single for a long time. It's not rocket science to know that everybody gets lonely at some stage in their life, and some more than others. And it's such a weird feeling. I've got great friends, I'm a born again Christian. I've got faith in the Lord, but I still feel lonely in my heart. It doesn't mean I'm completely alone. It's a very strange feeling, and this song really got to me. And sometimes I do feel very lonely. Like that, I don't know that. Like some people get scared. Oh, why are you so lonely? I'm here for you. It doesn't work that way. We have to understand that loneliness is a very complicated area, and I don't think there's many psychologists that I know that I've read work that's telling me a clear definition of what loneliness is. Although you go onto the NH website, you must join a hobby club, talk to your family and friends. It doesn't work that way. Trust me. It's it's a very strange feeling. When I was creating that thing today on TikTok, it was like it just come out of me. I went like bawling out my eyeballs here, and I made like 5 or 6 TikToks afterwards on top of that because it's such a strange game for me, social media. Not because I don't know what I'm doing, because I'm doing what no one else is really doing at the moment, and I'm not saying I'm the king of social media or nothing like that. It's just because I'm living my emotions into the platforms that I have. And the reason I'm doing it is really a social media experiment and a social experiment because you know what? I get a lot of goodness from creating content on TikTok, and I especially like going live. I thought I'd jazz it up tonight and get a bit smart and put a jacket on because normally I'm just sitting here in my boring black tracksuit, and I thought to myself, you know what? People are going to start asking questions soon. They're going to say, you know what, Steve? Please change that black tracksuit you're wearing. So from now on, it's the smart jacket that's coming on. So anyway, but yeah, so today was a really weird one for me. So then, I went for a walk on the bed. It was nice. The sun was shining in Eastbourne, but it was still cold. But I wrapped up and it done me the world of good going on the pier. and I feel so much more better for it. But it's a strange game, loneliness. Trust me. Um, my marriage, I don't mind sharing this. I've shared it online anyway. It's all over the internet. I My marriage didn't last very long. My wife was older than me, and there's so many things in my life that affected me. I'm strong, and I'm not Superman. Okay, I've got feelings, but and that's on the positive side. I know how to heal because I wouldn't be a good teacher, I wouldn't be a growing expert in mental health or emotional intelligence if I wasn't able to tell people how to heal. But I'm still healing myself, and I won't go too much into detail because I want to focus on loneliness tonight. But sometimes people say, "Do we ever really heal?" And I think I was speaking a little bit about that yesterday in the yesterday's show. But everybody is different. I mean, there's so much theory out there, and I want to talk to you about real stuff that's happened to me, not just me, but some of my opinions and thoughts, and you know what I'm experiencing, because I know that people are suffering immensely across the UK, Europe. We've got 2 wars in Europe now. There's so much going on in this world, and we will feel. I kid you not, the current trajectory. And I'll give you some bad news. There's good news afterwards. The current trajectory that where we're going as a society and humanity on this planet is that basically we're becoming more angrier. Crime is going up globally. Okay. But also, even more scary is that as the world gets darker and darker, and it is getting darker, it won't get better. I'm sorry to say. There's too many things that are happening. We're going into what we call a cycle of wars. People are more angry, and there's things kicking off now between, I think it's Pakistan and Iran. So there's more exposure for more wars to happen and conflict. And that's really sad. But because of those wars going on and other things that are happening, sadly, we're going to feel more lonely because we don't want to turn on our phones anymore. We don't want to watch the news because all we get is bad news. So, but I want to give you some good news. The good news is that the mind can cope through an immense amount of stress if we learn to manage our mental fitness. Okay. I'm going to be calling, I'm not using the word mental something H anymore. I'm using the word mental fitness because part of my new brand, I'm going to be promoting new ways to look after your mental fitness. Pretty much like you going to the gym, focusing on ways to keep our mind healthy, because that's what mental fitness really means, health in the mind. But anyway, yeah, so loneliness is real. And I learned that today. It was like a refresher because, there's just moments. There's might be some friends and family watch this, and bless my mum, she's not alive today, but she died nearly 6 years ago now, almost. But a good friend of mine said, Steve, there'll be moments in your life where those memories will come, and it will just hit you, and they'll never go away. And I don't want them to go away because I love my mum dearly, and she was a lovely lady. And anybody that's lost someone recently, I sincerely, I felt your pain, and I'm kind of feeling it here and there and everywhere some days, because sometimes I think, when COVID came out, people started dying. I was like, would I want my mum to be alive today? Because there was so much going on when we had lockdown, and it was a scary time for a lot of people. And it's a scary world, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, there's so much going on in this world, and we need to be more positive. I mean, I can't wave a magic wand and say to you, look, everything's going to be all right. But what I can do is speak the truth and say to you, what, this is what happened to me today. I shared my story. I've shared loads of stories. Probably not as raw as I have done today, because literally, I sat on my bed. I needed to lay down, and I was wondering. I felt better, and then I thought, you know what, I might as well just click the button and go live on TikTok. And I was literally laying on my bed, and you know what? I want to thank the community of TikTok today, because they were lifting me up. Bless them. And these are complete strangers that I didn't know. And it was so nice when you get a nice message on social media and someone says, keep going, brother. Those little words, they mean something, because some people are literally on their own and they don't have anybody to talk to. And you might live out in the sticks somewhere and you could be really hurting bad inside emotionally. And that's a dark place, because when you've got no help and there's no humans around to talk to, and you ain't even got access to the internet, even worse, okay, what do you do? Okay, I'm in faith, but I know not everybody is. But even I am not Superman. I get lonely, but I do know how to, I recognize my emotions so well because my emotional intelligence is so high. Why is it high? It's because, I'm one of these people that have gone through so much in their life that all the bad stuff, I've used that, enhanced it, and grabbed hold of it, and kind of frameworked it, read so much about, psychology, and I've actually, built up my own research that says I don't need to go to counselling, even though I'm retrained as a counsellor as an extra skill. I don't need to pick up the phone and ask my doctor for antidepressants, because I know where my fears come from, my emotions. I know how to process my anxieties. I know anxiety. Some people hate the word and they feel like it's a scary word. Listen, I'll say it again. I'll say it 1,000 times. We all have anxiety. Okay, it's not a dirty word. Yeah. If you get diagnosed, unless it's the more high level, which I think is general anxiety disorder, I think it is. I can't remember, but there are different severities of anxiety. And from my humble research and my own lived experience in terms of my epilepsy, it's when the stress levels become too high that they're unmanageable and we have panic attacks, etc. That's when we need to be focusing a lot more on seeking medical and professional help. But before that get to that level, let's start with the basics of being friendly to ourselves and going for a walk and trying to meet people. I mean, bless me, even though I feel lonely, I'm stepping out in my community literally a week tomorrow, and I'm offering a community wellbeing club, okay, where people can come along and make friends. And it's going to be led by me. I've gone out, I've done some marketing, I've got it in my local news magazine, and I'm doing another one as well. Okay, it's trying to get things going so I can step out in the community, put my research into my community, and it feels good. I'll be honest with you. When you start helping people, when you're in a better place and you start coming out of the loneliness and you start to feel good about who you are in life, which I've been talking about for the last couple of years now, and this year I'm gonna try and step up a little bit more. I know a lot of people struggle with their mental fitness and they feel they've got no purpose in life, and they feel, I don't know who I am anymore, Steve. And that's a great question. And some people used to ask me, say, Steve, how have you gotten through all the things you've been through? And I used to turn around to them and used to say, you know what? One of the key words I'd give to anybody, doesn't matter what age group you are, is the word hope. Have hope to know that the future is going to be okay. Have hope to know that you're going to be okay. Now, that might sound simple, might sound silly, but you know what? If you're somebody, a man, a lady, you're stuck on an island or you're stuck in prison, and you're not going to get out or get off that island or get out of prison for the next 10 years, you've got to find something. You've got to find purpose. And for me, okay, one is faith, but number two is hope to know that things will get better. But we need to work on that. There's got to be a lot more deeper work. But the challenge of life is hard, right? And I think loneliness is I don't think it's well understood. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that we've got it right in terms of okay, I'm setting up a community group, but if I'm going to the community group myself, I'm the leader. I still feel lonely inside. Now I might meet someone, I don't know. I'm not really going there for that. That's not really my purpose. My purpose is to just bring something together and just share my communication skills and put something well embedded into the community. I'm not saying that everybody's got that confidence, because if you feel lonely, you don't want to do anything, and your mood is low, you're not going to want to go anywhere, and that's understandable. I mean, some days I don't want to go out because I don't feel like it. But but I do train a lot. I go to the gym, and I've built up a very good mental fitness framework that works for me. And this year, because of my new brand, Healthy Secrets, I'll be sharing those secrets with everybody as much as I can across my social media channels. And when I launch my new courses, I'll try and make that as global and as big as I can get it. And then I'll be selling some merchandise. So, nothing fancy, just some basic t-shirts and stuff like that. And then try and start a movement to really say to people, look, this is what happened to me. This is my research, and this is what I'm offering. Okay. And I think sometimes in life, you just meet the strangest and loveliest people. You're on your knees and you don't expect anybody to help you. And I think personally, that's a beautiful thing because, like I said to you earlier on, I mean, the world is literally getting more angry and angrier. And my research says that, and you can go online, look at the world we live in today. When I ask my friends and family and people in my community, do you think the world is getting angrier? It's getting darker, isn't it? And they all agree with me. No one turns around to me and says, Steve, no, I challenge you on that. You know what? My life is beautiful. If I turn around to 100 people and I ask them, how is your mental something, right? I think that, most of them, 70% plus, would say, I'm not in a great place because we're not trained in education. I used to be a former teacher, as some people know. And when I was teaching my students, mental fitness and emotional intelligence just wasn't on the curriculum because we were so busy and focused on trying to get our students pushing through the doors to get onto university, which I think is bad, by the way. And that might make for another great episode next week. I don't know, talking about people going to university because we're in January, okay, and there's a lot of people out there that are trying to reshape their careers and just build new things for themselves. The new year, new career, all that fiasco. But we need to work better on understanding our own emotions before we get into the complexities of trying to build a new life. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I've gone through many different cycles in my personal life and I'm still going through them. But you know what? It's the trying that matters. And I say to anyone, don't give up. And some of my videos that I do, some are strange, some are weird, some are funny, some are serious. I'm trying to lean more on the funny side. And I'll be honest with you, I feel fun tonight and happy because, when I go live, it just brings out something different in me. And I think one of the best ways we can combat loneliness is find a hobby that brings the best out of us. Now, it doesn't mean that you can press a button literally and you're not going to feel lonely, because I felt lonely earlier on today. And I've done a few different things. So I shot up 5 TikToks and laid on my bed, went live, and people started to reach out to me and comfort me. And that was so nice. I could have picked up and phoned one of my lovely friends. But, sometimes you just, when you're in that dark spot, and even you got loads of friends or some friends that would help, you don't always, it's not automatic. We're not trying to pick up the phone and say, oh, can I talk? Yeah, it was just emotion. Our emotions and brains are so complex. And I was literally listening to a song or this soundtrack on TikTok from a video that I created. It was about to upload. So get that. Do you know what I mean? That was a weird one. So, but anyway, it's today's been such a strange day, but a good day. I just say to you, I almost forgot to go live to do the show tonight. Hopefully it get bigger and better in the future, and I'll get a decent studio, and I'll be able to go on more platforms, get a bigger audience. Not because I want the fame, I believe that I can sincerely help a lot of people with their mental fitness. I need help as well. Today proves that I'm not Superman for sure, and loneliness can get the best of the people. And there is it doesn't matter how much money you've got in this world, something can upset you. That's how the human brain works. If you get a phone call tomorrow, sadly, and somebody in your family as passes away, or something that's really big, it will get to you. Yeah, some of us have got fear for that. Okay. I wasn't expecting my mum to go, but cancer is a big disease. It happens. It's taken a couple of years to process it all, and it was hard, really hard. I did have really fantastic support. I was blessed. I went straight into counselling because there was an opportunity there for some funding, and I took it with both hands. And I say to anybody, through loneliness, if anyone offers you real help and you trust them, you can't trust anybody 100%. But if there's some help there, and you feel something in your heart to say, you know what, I feel like there was a connection there or something, you'll know in your heart if it feels right. It could be friend, family, relative, stranger, more than likely. Grab hold of that help, because a lot of people turn around and you ask them, how you doing? You okay? I'm sorry to hear what happened to you. And they turn around and they say, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm just keeping busy. And that would be one of my last bits of advice tonight would be, never just assume that keeping busy is going to really help your mental fitness, because it won't. Your emotions, your feelings will catch up you eventually. Okay. The body lets us know when we're doing too much in terms of exercise, stress, and it starts to break down. And you might start to experience headaches. I'm a medical professional, but I know stuff that's happened to me, and the research that I've read, it says that literally, so we have to figure out ways and frameworks that work best for us to understand where our anxieties come from so we can process it. And then what that basically does, that relaxes the brain a little bit more, and we calm down. Counselors, psychologists use something called rationalize your thoughts, which is basically, when we're in a state of stress or anxiety and even loneliness, we're thinking in a not rationalized way, especially if it comes to other things, like if we feel like we're threatened or we want to hurt someone, which is violence. We need to think, okay, is this the most appropriate action? You have to process it in your brain as a mature adult, or even if it's a child, it's a lot different, and they need comforting. That's why we need to give love to our children. But when you're an adult, sometimes I would argue it can be more complicated because we're dealing with more complexities. I'm not saying that a child's mental fitness is more difficult than an adult's, but loneliness can grab hold of anybody, and it doesn't matter what age group it is. However, at least when you're an adult, they've got some life skills. If a child that's 10 or younger and they feel lonely, and they're not going to tell you they're lonely because you might be a bad parent. How do you know that? In your heart, you may feel you're a great parent, but there was so many different things that happened to me when I was growing up, and it was difficult. But as I've matured as an adult, one of the best ways we can heal from loneliness in one way and other stress from the past, and trying to turn over a new leaf, as it were, is processing what happened to us and saying to ourselves in our conscious way, which means basically you say to yourself, look, this happened to me. It wasn't my fault. And that's important. That's really important. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I usually go up to about 30 minutes. So I've got a few more minutes to go before I sign off. But I want to just say, in relation to loneliness and where I think we need to go as a society, and I've always said this, basically, we just need to put our arms around each other, because if we can put our arms around each other a little bit more, okay, but I know it's difficult. I mean, I've moved down here from London to Eastbourne to get away from the stress, right? And, I wouldn't say the last 4 years of my life living on the coast has been hunky-dory, as we say, kind of a London Essex slang. But it's, as they saying goes, life is a roller coaster, right? We need to cherish the moments for our kids, our families and friends, for sure. But the most important thing is our thoughts up here, I would argue, in my experience, because loneliness can be even when you've got your family, you're married, for instance, and things are not going well, or even going great well, but you don't feel you can open up to your partner, or there's something might be bothering you, you don't know what it is. Because sometimes we can't define what loneliness is in our heads. It's too complicated. And not even doctors, because they're not mental health trained. So I think we just need to have more people come forward like me and speak out a little bit more about loneliness. It's going to mean something different for everybody. A good friend of mine once says about trauma, and trauma is a big word in psychology. Okay, it's very well researched, but because we still don't know a lot about the human brain, trauma will mean something different for everybody. Because those that suffer from or have been diagnosed with PTSD, for instance, are not always soldiers who go on operations. It can be anyone that's seen something severely bad or have got bad memories, and there's a whole host of different reasons. And loneliness is one of the, I would say, underlining elements of PTSD and what I suffer from, which is non-epileptic attack disorder. Sadly, PTSD and my condition, I still don't think is very well researched, because it's very difficult. If you put 1,000 people in a room, or 100 people, let's say, or 20 people, and they've all got the same condition, whether it's PTSD or, say, non-epileptic attack disorder, their underlying principles of their condition, their symptoms, and what stress points they have are going to be very different, because every human is different. Now, some people say the human brain is wired the same way, but I don't agree with that. I'd say that our thought processes can be rationalized, but what goes on through our brains is different to everybody, because our memories, our images, the content we watch, and our favorite TV shows are all different. So we need to get to ourselves into a better state of learning. Okay. I was reading a good book the other day on trying to find a better you. I can't remember what the title was. And it was talking about a state of mind where the body matches the mind. And if we think in a positive way, the body kind of goes with that. That's not the complete science, because sometimes we just don't know how we're going to feel. Like my condition last year, sadly, I had 2 seizures, didn't see them coming. I'm much better now, by the way. Getting on top of things. Yes, I had a moment today, but I'm speaking to you live about it. So that really helps my mental fitness. We have to find different unique ways that matter to us, so we can really just get through life. And I think that's so important. But anyway, I'm going to sign off in a few moments. And I just want to thank everybody for joining in, whether you're watching this live or on a rerun, as it goes across all my social media channels, which hopefully will get bigger and better in the future. When I finally get some money in the till, okay, a lot of people say, Steve, get a job. And I did that. And what happened? I had a seizure and I resigned. It didn't work. So I'm going to battle through my Healthy Secrets brand. Things are looking up, looking positive. Doesn't mean my life is beautiful and hunky-dory, but I keep trying, because I wake up every single day. I'm thankful to the Lord that I have a jacket. I've got a roof over my head. Some people are living on, less than $5 a day. 2/3 of the world, in actual fact, and only get 1 meal a day. So, kind of like deal with that. Do you know what I mean? That's hard. But anyway, I want to leave on a positive thought. I want to say to you, it's still probably not too late, but Happy New Year. It is the new year. We're literally about 3 weeks in January 2024. And yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. Join me next week. Please follow me, whatever channel you're watching this on, as this is not always guaranteed to go on time. Okay, and the data says that random lives are much better, rather than planned lives. I don't like, I'm a former reservist, but I don't like regimental structure. Okay, some people say routine is good for you. I disagree with that. I say if you mix it up, go with it. Those that know me personally know that I'm a man that does this. 1 minute you see me doing this, and next that's who I am. I'm not going to change who I am to please others, but I will help people. That's what I'm here to do. So thank you so much for joining me on the show, News for You. And tonight I was answering the question, or trying to talk about, sometimes we all feel lonely, and some of my real stuff that happened to me today, literally. And some of the coping strategies that we can understand and look at in terms of our own thoughts, and even those that suffer from PTSD or my condition, non-epileptic attack disorder, which is a rare type of epilepsy. Anyway, let's end on a high, and I will say to you, good night, folks. Sayonara, adios, amigos. Thank you so much for joining me on News for You. I'll see you next week on Thursday around 4 o'clock, I hope. And the big and the best show on social media. News for you. Tell your friends, tell your family this is the best show in the world, so we can get more people watching the show and get some sponsorship. Yes. And then maybe I'll get some guests. Maybe I can get a studio. Who knows? Anyway, I'll see you next week. Good night. God bless, wherever you are.